Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm David. We got to talk about Big Brother 22 All-Stars spoilers. Right, Sarah?
But first, yes, I was going to be disappointed. And then I was like, that's not how you start a video. We're excited. But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up.
And if you want to support us on Patreon, you can find a link in the description. Okay.
This whole video is spoilers, David. So here we go. Okay. Ready and...
Spoilers.
Oh my God. I felt so good about that.
Might have been great.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so you guys know, if that lined up perfectly in the song, then Sarah and I were hearing each other completely off. So it's it's a very uncomfortable situation to try to sync that up.
It is what it is.
Yes, we have fun.
You guys,
okay, so everything's great, Sarah. This is exactly, I think, how we wanted this week to go. The HOH is ideal. And I just love it. I'm so happy.
I feel like that's what I don't feel like that's the truth. It did not go the way that we wanted. We have an HOH, you guys. Feeds came back eventually last night, and we learned that Memphis is the HOH.
First repeat HOH of the season. Memphis. Woo! We all love him.
Oh, I do love that he goes to sleep early and I don't have to stay up too late for feeds.
There you go.
We're gonna go through things that we love.
Yeah.
He and I went to college together. Didn't know him, but we both went to Florida State at the same time.
What?
No, this is something I learned later. We both went to Florida State at the same time. Enrique, thank you for this super chat.
Thank you.
Entertainment makes everything better. If
we try.
Only that were true.
I know. If only we could make this show better the way it's going. My God.
If only we could make 2020 better.
Yeah.
Also, thanks for representing the UK on a Friday night.
Pounds. Appreciate it.
Being up here late. Yes. Okay. Enough of that. Memphis is the HOH, and we know that means because he has rules, y'all. He has a lot of rules, and he's not going to talk to people that he's aligned to or not.
Mm-hmm.
And but he did have some conversations, and we do have info. So let's talk about the conversation.
And there are things like it's interesting to see him kind of like laying the groundwork for the future of the game, right? So there is some interesting stuff to talk about here. But you're right, like the way he's running the HOH so far is very similar to the way that he ran it the first time. He's got his plan. He's not telling anyone his plan. He's saying like, you people have loose lips, so I'm not telling anybody anything. Here's how it's going to go. I'm going to make my noms. We're going to play the veto. We're going to see what the final noms are. Then I'm going to tell you who I want you to vote out. Then you're going to vote that person out. And then we'll go on to the next HOH. Sound good?
Literally, that's what he did. The committee walked in one by one, sitting down, thinking that they're going to be like, okay, so is our target or who should we? How about this? No, nothing. He cut them off and he was like, look, I have a plan. I know what I'm doing. Not going to tell you. I will tell you eventually. And I don't want any deliberation afterwards. He was like, the fact that the vote was not just a given last week, that like there was even talk that we were not all voting Ian out. He was like, I don't want any of that this week. I don't want you guys deliberating. He's like, some of you guys are going to want this person out for you and this person out for you. He was like, I don't care. I'll tell you who my target is. And I'm asking you to go with it.
I know. And I'm kind of impressed that people are just kind of like swallowing it. I mean, what else can you really do? You have to be like, okay. But it's kind of great that he's like, I'm going to do what's best for my game, and I'm not going to give you the opportunity to try to talk me out of anything. All you need to know, especially to the committee, all you need to know is that you're safe. The committee is off limits, and I will nominate whoever I want to that's out of the committee, and you don't get to have your fingers in my HOH. Like, I kind of respect that, you know?
I mean, I respect it a little bit. Look who's in the chat, Jeannie.
Jeannie.
You guys all know Jeannie from a perfect score of Sight Unseen.
That's right.
Thank you for the super chat, Jeannie. We love you. And thanks for stopping by.
We love you.
We love you. Yeah, I do. I see what you're saying. I appreciate the like directness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like this is just the way it is. But, you know, half of the committee leaves their little meetings and they're like, no, this is not the way it goes. I don't care who your target is at the end of the day. If it's not who I want to go home, I'm not voting your way.
Exactly. That is the one piece of it that they still kind of have a little bit of control over. And I do love hearing these conversations between Nicole and Danny and others kind of saying, we don't care. Okay, you like name your nominees and like block them after veto, fine. But once it gets to that point, we'll make our own decision because you don't get a vote. So we'll decide who's actually going to go out of the house this week.
And there could be some excitement when it comes to the vote because the committee is split on who they want to keep. We've gotten to a point where some people want David out, some people want to keep David, some people want Day out, some people want to keep Day. Like people are starting to have very specific opinions about that. So we could get some deliberation on the vote, Memphis.
We could.
Be prepared.
Yes. But we're getting to now the names that are swirling around in Memphis's head with the committee off the table, right? That's 6 people.
He did promise that.
Also not going on the block. So it's going to be some combination of Davon, Kevin, and David. That's what this week is like.
Faye, thank you for the super chat. Hiya, right back at ya. Okay, so let's talk about, so those were his meetings with the committee. He was sort of vague, but he has a plan, and the committee is safe. That's the key words. So once he started having meetings with non-committee members, the story changed. Now, Kevin's and Davon's meetings were very similar. He said, I have 6 people I'm considering.
Very important choice of word there, right? Because he is considering keeping the 6 members of the committee safe, but he's not considering 6 people to put on the block.
Right, which is not the way he was making it sound. So Kevin and Davon are both like, whoa. What? That's a lot of people you're choosing from. Wow. And he was like, but I'm going to figure it out. And they were like, how can I help you with that? And he was like, don't you worry about it. I'll figure it out all on my own. The only little hint that we got from those 2 conversations was he threw into Davon. I do have you as a part of my plan over the next couple weeks.
Interesting. That suggests that like he wants her to stick around for something. So maybe if she goes on the block, she won't be his target, you know, because like it may be inevitable that with only 3 people that he's considering, if one of them comes down from the initial nom, she may have to go up as a replacement nom. But he's kind of saying, you're not my target because I want you around for a bigger purpose down the line.
Right. And that does make sense. Like I can see him utilizing Davon to get a committee member out or 2.
That's right. Absolutely. I think that he wants her there to take some shots for him potentially at some point. Now she does kind of like, you know, cover her bases with the veto situation. She lets him know, like, I know I used the veto and it was an unpopular decision, but that was my one shot that I was taking. I did that for me, but I'm not going to do that again. So you have my word that if I win veto this week and you don't want me to use it, I will not use it.
She does say that.
I assume, you know, like, of course she's going to use it on herself. But
I think she did say something like, if it's not on myself, I won't use it. And that is nice to hear if you are an HOH, especially since there was like a hullabaloo from her using that veto this week. I don't know if that's real or not from her perspective, but I can see that she'd be like, okay, I can't do it again. I can see her saying that. But here it gets even more interesting. When David walks in to his meeting with Memphis.
Yeah. This is, they have a very different relationship, the two of them, than Memphis has with Davon or Kevin. Like, it's been contentious. Memphis has been after David for, because he doesn't belong in an all-star season, or it's racially charged, or whatever it is. Like, a lot of people have their theories here.
Yes.
And all of them could be true at once. There could be many reasons that he's after David, but they kind of make a business deal together, right? They kind of are like, let's let bygones be bygones, put the past behind us, and here's where we could go moving forward, kind of thing.
In true Memphis fashion, he says, you want a seat at the table? You got it. Here's my business proposition. And he says, listen closely. He says, if you can promise to me, David, promising to Memphis, that if you play in the veto and happen to win it, that you will not use it to pull anybody down. If you promise me you will keep my noms the same, I am promising you will not see the block. You will not go on the block. He also lays it on thick in true Memphis style. And he was like, and if you tell anyone, this deal is off. He said, I'm not telling anyone. So if it leaks out, if word gets back to me, then I know that you've said something, and then it's over. We're done.
Yeah. It's an interesting deal because David has to not say anything, right? He's got to keep that end of the deal. He can't tell anybody. It cannot get back to Memphis. It needs to stay between the two of them. But if Memphis doesn't nominate David today, David could win the veto and do whatever he wants, because at that point he's safe and Memphis can't put him on the block if he's won the veto. So it's like kind of it's not the best deal. Like, you can't force David into anything, but I think David will probably see this as an opportunity to get in with some people who were like brick walls to him before. And I think it's a deal he might honor.
Yeah. You think David will honor it, is what you're saying?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I do too. I don't think I don't think David would go again. Okay, so just to be clear, David does shake his hand in this moment. They shake on it. So it is a deal that is official. David could go against him, like you're saying, but then he has an angry Memphis coming after him.
Totally.
You've kind of smoothed things over and you're getting a little bit of a breather in the game. So I have to imagine that if he does, he'll probably just try not to win veto and not put himself in that situation. But if he just accidentally does win it, he has to be like, I can't choose. I don't know what to do. Because ultimately that means if he's not going on the block, it means it's Kevin and Davon.
Right. Yeah.
That's what we learned from that conversation, is that he's keeping David around, probably to go after someone else that he wants. We get a hint that Davon is not his target. So we assume it's Kevin, because it's only those three are his options to go up. He promised the committee that no one goes up, not even as a renom if somebody comes down.
Right. So I think in Memphis's ideal scenario, he's going to nominate Davon and Kevin, and Kevin is going to be his target. And he hopes that noms stay the same and that Kevin goes out. And that makes sense to me, because Memphis is laying groundwork, like we said, and we'll get to it for the next phase of the game. But I don't think he's fully there yet, where he's taking big swings and taking shots at people that he's working with. Kevin is the easiest vote out right now. And so I wouldn't expect Memphis to do anything other than the path of least resistance.
Right. So if you're looking at the dynamics of the House, they have these three people outside of the committee that the committee aren't really working with. But Davon and David are not actually working well together. They are... The House knows that they are back and forth, that they have issues, and this whole vote thing that happened last night it
worked.
Sealed that 100%. Nicole's plan worked. Davon does not trust David. She won't even talk to him today. They yelled at each other, got in a fight last night. She called him an Uncle Tom. They are like straight up feuding.
Yeah.
She thinks that David is working with the guys and is working against her and set them up to look bad in this vote.
And Kevin thinks so too. Like, I think in Kevin's cam talk this morning, he was like, there's a 5% chance that Nicole lied. There's a 5% chance that Davon lied. And there's a 90% chance that David lied. Yeah. So, he fell for it too.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin definitely deliberates, but he's leaning towards believing Davon. They haven't been sure if they could trust David. And can we blame them? David has been shady.
Yes.
He's like shady to everybody, whether he means to be or not. Like, he talks to people in riddles. He doesn't make sense. Yep. They're like, who are you going after? And he was like, what would one go after in this game of going after? You're like, what?
And then like the whole thing with the power, it's like he lied about it for so long. And then he finally like came clean to some people, right? Hello, Jolene. Yes, they got a new haircut and I love it.
You guys, it's like the pandemic never happened. I have my old hairs again.
But didn't he come clean to people about the power? Like, he ended up telling some people.
He told Kevin and Davon, and only Kevin and Davon. So it seems like his loyalty actually is to them, and they're the ones like tossing him aside.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I would be like, okay, so you played this whole game with the power and then eventually came clean to us. And I'm supposed to like now give you my undying trust that you actually did vote to evict Tyler. Like, I don't know. You're just shady. He's just not set himself up to be the most trustworthy person in the house, period.
It's unfortunate because if the three of them could work together, they might be able to do something, but it's just not going to happen. And I think that Memphis is taking advantage of it right now because Kevin is the one in the middle. And we do know that Kevin and Davon are close. So if you take Kevin out of the mix, if he's your target, then you are left with Davon as sort of by herself who can claim her. And same thing with David, who can claim him. And it sounds like Memphis wants to claim him.
Yeah, I think Memphis kind of wants to claim them both for different purposes, potentially. I think he does want to keep Davon around to take a shot at Tyler. He talked about Tyler as the first person in the committee that he wants to go after all the like dust settles from maybe this week, like maybe as soon as next week, he wants Davon to take that shot. But I think that's what he is referring to when he says like, you're a part of my plan in the coming weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to reiterate, we know that the feeds are down right now for noms, and we're 99% sure that it will be Kevin and Davon, and that will leave a few people shocked because Danny is like, obviously David's his target. Nicole's like, obviously David's his target. Cody, on the other hand, is like, gosh, I hope his target's not David. If he tries to get rid of David this week, I'm just not going to do it. I'm not voting out David. So there's definitely going to be some interesting conversations.
Yeah.
When the Titans come back and David is not on the block.
Yes, for sure. Now we got to talk about these plans that Memphis has cooking up, because the way that like everyone was cycling through for their one-on-ones and the order that people came into the HOH room really could not have been more perfect. It just was like the perfect string of people where he was like, okay, you're in, now you're in, and you're out. And okay, we're all on the same page. Now get out. Now you, like, it just was like amazing the way this worked out.
It's almost like the universe is working with Memphis, you guys. So I just say buckle up because I think we're going to have Memphis for a really long time. Okay. So if that's a problem, do what you got to do. Light some candles, do some meditating, because I think he's setting himself up really, really well. Okay, it started with Christmas, who's obsessed with him.
Oh, Christmas, you're right. Christmas, like,
oh my gosh, she made him
done up first thing in the morning.
Had to go meet him in the HOH so that the two of them could be co-HOHs together.
Yes.
Okay, he's like, final two, you and I, it's us, it's happening. Yeah. And then he said, we got to get out Tyler first, which is interesting because she got final two with Tyler. So.
Yeah, right. Yes.
Then she leaves. Cody comes in and he's like, Cody, final two, right here, the commission. It's all about this, right here, right here. But we're going to have a final three. we're going to have a final three. We're going to bring someone else in. Let's bring in Enzo. How about Enzo? Love Enzo.
Love it. Great. And Cody, we're going to be the wise guys, the three of us. That's our new final three deal. We're the wise guys with Enzo.
Enzo walks in at this point. This is like when you know the BB gods are like shining down on Memphis. Because Enzo walks in and they're like, great timing. Guess what? The wise guys, let's do it. Oh my God. Yeah. That's their thing. He kicks Cody out and he's like, really, Enzo, it's us. Final two.
We're the wise guys. Yeah.
We're the wise guys. Yeah. And the other final three that's also going to be called the wise guys is with Christmas. Literally, Christmas comes back in to like refill his coffee or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, Christmas
like, perfect timing.
Wise guys, right here. Wise guys. Now this is a speed bump. She's like, I'm not a guy.
Yeah, I love it so much. I'm not a guy. And I'm like, yeah. Alarm bells, red flags, like that means you're onto it. That means that you're not for real in this alliance.
Yeah, it kind of seems like he came up with that name for something else, doesn't it, Christmas? What is that all about? But he shuts her down because he doesn't really care what she thinks. And she was like, don't you have to get it cleared? And he's like, I already got it cleared. And she was like, okay. Okay, great. I'm the wise guy.
He's like, it's just a phrase. It's just a phrase that people use. Like, it doesn't mean anything.
Just means like people who are with it and do things and like are smart. I don't know what the was.
Right. But before Christmas came in, he's explaining to Enzo, we got to like have some soldiers, you know, like we're old guys, whatever. We can't compete with some of these younger people in the comp. So we got to get people like Cody and Christmas who are comp beasts, who can fight for us, who can win things for us and then do what we want them to do. And then when we're down to final four, everybody thinks they're wise guys and we're all good. And then we can like get rid of whoever we want to get rid of. And then you and me, Enzo, final two. Let's do this.
Yes. So interestingly enough, Memphis is really set up nicely right now.
Yeah.
Now there are some problems, like things could happen. Obviously, Enzo could relay any of this to Tyler. Christmas could, but she's so in love with Memphis.
No, she's not going to tell anybody. But I could see Cody or Enzo, because it's kind of like when you're in this meeting, right? You're like, okay, thank God I'm like in with this HOH because he's the one with the power now and he wants to work with me long term in the game. This is all great, great, great. But if I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, this is awesome, but this is also all Memphis's plan right now. So I can't really let this work, like let him pull this off because like it's a great game move, you know? So it benefits me. Great. I'm going to go with it, but eventually I'm going to get Memphis out because I don't want him sitting in the final two saying like, when I got my second HOH, I set myself perfectly up for the end of the game and it all worked. And here I am, give me the check, you know? So I think if I were Enzo or Cody, I would be like, this is great, but I'm also like back pocket target Memphis, you know?
Yeah. Well, Enzo and Cody, I think are closer than Memphis. Like Cody gets annoyed with Memphis not looping him into conversations. Enzo just goes along to get along. Like he's just like, exactly what I was thinking. We're on the same page, yo. But I kind of feel like Enzo's closer to Tyler than Memphis. But here's what's weird is there's a lot of talk in the house about how Memphis is the villain. They think that he's like the villain of the season. And like, I hate to break it to him, he's barely on the show. But they think sitting next to Memphis is the easiest thing. He gets no votes. But you just pointed out a great case. Like Memphis could sit there and be like, this is what I did. He has a lot of things.
Let that happen, then it's kind of like, okay, yeah, Enzo, you're there, but you're there because of Memphis. Like this was all Memphis's plan. So what did you do, Enzo? You know, so I feel like Enzo is smart enough to be like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to blow this up right now because like this is potentially going to get me far depending on who's HOH, you know, like we got to kind of see as much as it is, it kind of feels inevitable that this is going to happen sitting here just because Memphis is the one that's in power this week, you know, but like, remember, don't give up on the show, right? Because like, depending on who gets HOH in the coming weeks, everything changes. But this feels like such a solid, smart plan in this moment that I'm like, well, there's our final four. Cody,
Yeah.
Memphis, Enzo, and Christmas.
Well, I mean, it's a really smart plan. But we also have a final four of Cody, Enzo, Danny, and Nicole. We also have a final three of Tyler, Enzo, and Cody. Like these parts are so like interchangeable that I don't know which way it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's could be exciting and also could be super, super frustrating.
Yeah. Now, we are clearly not the biggest fans of Memphis as a person, but one thing that I was like a bit relieved to hear from him was him acknowledging like, this is the week when it starts. Like, this is what I've been waiting for. This really kind of feels like the beginning of the game to me. We all know the first however many weeks are BS and it doesn't really matter. I was just trying to lay low and build rapport so that I wouldn't get on the block. But now I'm here to like actually play. Let's break down this plan. And I'm like, okay, don't get me wrong. There are many other reasons to dislike Memphis, but not playing the game hard enough is kind of not one of them for me anymore, because I'm like, okay, maybe this is him coming alive. And, you know, he was kind of executing Ian's strategy better than Ian did, laying low, not doing anything, kind of being just friendly or like on decent terms with everybody. And now midway through the game, he's awake.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was awake the whole time. I think absolutely, as frustrating as it is to say, Memphis's strategy is working really well. He is on top of that. It looks like he's napping the whole time, but he like wakes up at just the right moments and is like, oh, this is when I win HOH so that I can set up all of my final threes that I want to overlap and protect me left, right, and center. Julie B, thank you for the super chats.
Thank you, Julie.
And you are welcome for the live feed updates on Twitter.
They're the best.
What's my Twitter handle? You guys know it. I don't know.
Big Brother.
Thank you. I have a couple. I don't know. Yeah, so he does. He gets a lot of credit, and I do think that he has a case if he is sitting at final two, even though they think no one will give him a vote because they're annoyed with him for not working with them. But again, like, we see them get annoyed with anyone who doesn't play the game they want to play. Yeah. And to your point, we also have to give Nicole credit for her vote plan last night.
True. Yeah. I mean,
now that worked.
That worked. Like, I really didn't think that it would. I thought they'd be like, Nicole messed this up. Like, she got us, you know, but it really did sow the doubt that she was hoping it would, specifically between Davon and David. But like, what also is interesting about watching all these Memphis conversations happen and watching the conversations in the rest of the house, the conversations about the vote, the conversations about Christmas saying, why did Davon pick me to be a have-not? It just feels like we're, you know, it's such a stupid analogy that we hear all the time, and we heard it from Mickey all the time last season, but like, Memphis is playing chess while the rest of them are playing checkers. They're like worried about why did she pick me as a have-not and who threw the hinky vote, and he's literally making final four and final two plans. He has the benefit of being HOH, so you can have those kinds of conversations because you know, don't have those as much when you're like not the person in power, but it's just like such a contrast in terms of like where people's heads are at in the game right now. Yeah.
Well, he gets mad when people are doing all of this other stuff like hinky votes and deliberating. Do I want to vote out Ian or do I want to vote out Tyler? And he's like, if you guys could just nap like me and then just wake up to vote and then wake up to win HOH, you guys might be set up better. But here we are. Memphis has got, he's got his, he obviously got a blueprint from Dan. And Dan was like, this is exactly what you need to do. And he's following it to a T. Yep. So here we are. So they're going to take this week to probably knock out Kevin. The only way for it to get real exciting is if Davon wins veto and takes herself down. Okay. Then we have David on the block next to Kevin, and there will be argument about who to vote out if it's David versus Kevin. There also would be a split argument between David versus Davon. Okay. Because different people in the committee want to have
Yes.
Davon, and then we want to have David on their side.
Right.
But if it's Davon sitting next to Kevin, Kevin goes.
Right.
No.
Oh, yeah. If Kevin's on the block, well, no, you're right. Against David, Kevin has a chance, but against Davon, Kevin does not.
He doesn't have a chance. Mm-mm. And he only has a small chance next to David. But yeah, if the noms stay Kevin and Davon, then Kevin is in trouble. He's a goner. And then we have another boring week. But then after that, when the committee does have to start going after each other, then it'll get exciting, y'all.
Yes. I hope. Do you think it's next week? If we get Kevin out this week, do you think the committee starts to go after each other next week?
Yeah, I do. Even though they're saying they're going to wait till final 6, I think that's dumb.
Yeah,
and you're waiting for someone else to take the first shot.
That's right. You have to, and you want to have people like Davon and David or whoever the two are that stay. You want to use them as numbers in your plan.
Yeah.
You got to like rally some people outside of the committee in order to make a move on the committee. So,
which is exactly why Cody has set himself up with Enzo and David. Like they're all aligned. So Cody, once the committee starts going after each other, he's got these outside of the committee people to help him. And that's exactly why Danny is trying to keep Davon in her pocket. Like that's the person she needs to help her. So they are all, I mean, they're all doing it. And now Memphis thinks he has Enzo, but Enzo's everywhere.
Yeah. And I think Danny would also be trying to make a case for Kevin. If Kevin's on the block next to David, Danny would want Kevin to stay over David because I think that she could use Kevin more than she could use David in terms of when the committee starts to go after each other.
Right. She definitely wants David out. Although getting rid of Kevin does give her Davon completely to herself. So
true.
There's an
good point
to that.
Yeah.
Do not terrify me with Jackson being a possible neighbor. That is 100% not an option.
I feel like
no.
I don't know. I don't think Watermelon is in season.
No, it's not. It's out of season.
So I don't think.
Oh my God! What if it's Big Meech? I love Big Meech so much. I love it.
A BB legend, Big Meech.
David and I discussed this neighbor thing last night a little bit, and we can't figure out if it's going to be someone in person or via Zoom, Skype,
right.
FaceTime, whatever. Just because of COVID and quarantine and all of that, the neighbor house could be all virtual.
Right. Absolutely.
And, and in that case, it could be anyone.
And what they're doing is anybody's guess.
Right. I think they're just hosting an HOH comp, you guys.
They might come with a power, right? Like they might come with some new twist or something. I don't know.
I mean, Julie said it's going to shake up the game, but we have heard that before.
Yeah. And it hasn't happened.
And it doesn't always. That's what we're saying. It does not always shake up the game.
So, we thought that the BB basement was going to introduce 3 powers that would change the game forever. And it's looking like we're only going to see one of those powers played at all.
Well, yeah, that's true. But that's not Big Brother's fault. Those were 2 of the 3 were good powers.
Definitely. Yeah.
And if Memphis hadn't won, we could have seen Christmases gone into effect. If Davon had won,
yeah,
it's possible she would have backdoored Christmas.
Yeah. Because I don't think so. This is Christmas's last chance to use the blocker, right? At this upcoming veto ceremony.
Yes.
Danny could still use her power at the next HOH, but I don't think she's going to use that on Memphis, right?
The only reason she would use it on Memphis is if she wanted to mess with Memphis. If he pisses her off enough this week, he doesn't know about her power. So she could secretly say, yes, I want the HOH to play again. And then, Big Brother's going to announce the replay has been put in effect. Memphis will play in this HOH. And he'll be like, then he gets to pull a David and be like, Wait a minute. Who did this to me? Did you play this on me?
Right.
Do this? I would
And
really
everyone's
love to
like,
see it.
Memphis, you played it on yourself. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Come on, Memphis.
Yeah.
Come on now. Don't try to fake it. Just own it. Come on.
Yeah.
That would be super exciting to me. But I think that Memphis has to like really annoy Danny for her to do it.
Yeah. Plus, like the wrinkle there is that Danny has told some people about her power. So it's harder. David didn't tell anybody until later on after he played it. But there are some people who could be like,
she told
Danny had
Nicole and she told Davon. I haven't seen her tell Cody, but I have to imagine she did. Did she tell Cody, you guys?
I don't remember the specific conversation, but I have in my head that she told him. So I think I saw it at some point.
She had to have. I just probably blocked it out because I block out half of their conversations. That's probably what happened. So yeah, if Cody knows, then doing that secretly is not going to last as a secret. He would probably out.
Oh no, Sarah, you blocked yourself out of the chat. But yes, her point stands that if Danny used it, she would not be able to keep it a secret effectively. You're back.
I just like to keep you all on your toes, you guys.
Did you just sneak off to the neighbor's house on CBS?
Sometimes I have to go to the neighbor's house. Sometimes I have to. I don't know where it was.
What my face was in that moment, because I was like, keep talking. You're still. I'm
gonna go back and I'm gonna see it. I love it. I love your shocked face. Sometimes it just likes to boot me out, and but yes, I'm the neighbor. Surprise! Feeds are back. Okay, let's see, you guys.
Okay.
Let's confirm what we alluded from Memphis's meetings.
Yes. I'm going to try to like stealthily get my feeds on right now, but I don't want it to be loud. Shh, TV.
Yeah, I'm also the wall yeller. That's right. I'm the neighbor. I'm the wall yeller. What if the neighbor, the BB legend, is just the wall yeller?
That would be amazing.
Right?
And they're like, okay, we're going to give you one chance to yell one message at the house.
They're like, we've collected all the wall yellers, and they're going to yell out a bunch of random stuff. Yeah. And you guys just decide.
Yeah.
If you believe it or not. Because that's what you've been doing all season. Mm-hmm. You literally yelled, Cody and Nicole are working together. And then I died.
They have yelled that. I think Christmas and Tyler have a final two. They yelled something else.
Christmas and Tyler have a final two.
Yeah.
David has a power. No one heard that one.
Right. Yeah. Also, probably no one would have believed it if they actually heard it.
Exactly. Oh my God, y'all! I'm the neighbor, and I got poisoned, and I died. Okay, Day is getting hugs in the bathroom. So.
Yep, David's in there. I feel like David is looking at them like, I'm not on the block and you are, and it's going to be okay. But Davon's upset. Kevin just went to the bathroom. I think David's safe.
This doesn't help the whole distrust in the 3-0. 3-0.
No.
Oh my God.
No. 3. Sarah.
I've lost
Boot yourself out and come back in because you've lost
it. Kevin and Davon are going to be like, see, he's in with the guys.
Right.
This proves it.
We called
he's in with the guys.
Yeah.
We're on the block. He's not. What happened?
Yeah.
And, Davon's never going to trust him again, which on one hand I get, and on the other hand, he is trying to work with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jolene, there's no saving me.
You're right.
It's over. It's over.
Well,
the triple threat should have named themselves the 3-0.
The 3-0.
Yep. You guys, when I'm on Big Brother and I name my alliance the 3-0, you'll get it. You'll all get it. Okay, yep. Davon and
Oh yeah, Memphis is talking to Kevin now. So Kevin's obviously like, oh, what happened?
By the way, it's Kevin's
Wow.
birthday today, you guys. We
I
didn't even
know.
mention that he's being nominated on his birthday.
Poor guy.
Oh,
Also,
so
just
rough.
because we're doing spoilers, I mentioned it earlier, but Christmas is a have-not because Davon picked her and David picked Cody. So Cody and Christmas are the two have-nots for the week.
And Christmas has not stopped talking about it. She is.
Oh, she's like, why would Davon pick me? And Nicole's like, you put her on the block. And she's like, well, obviously she holds grudges.
That's what that means, obviously. Danny even tried to say, like, I think it's just like, that's the excuse. Like, instead of, you know, like, what excuse does she have for anyone else? Like, she can put you as a have-not and say, oh, it's because you're on the block. Like, it's casual. And Christmas was like, well, I'll remember that next week. I mean, girl.
I know.
Stop it. Seth, thank you for the super chat.
Seth, you're the best.
Yes, my body is rejecting it. Here we are. Here we are. All right. Well, I really hope that Davon or Kevin pull themselves down just for fun.
I know.
That's always more exciting.
Yeah.
But it does stink that here we are once again, and there's no getting out of it because Memphis isn't going to backdoor someone else. This is it.
No, there's zero hope that this ends in an outcome that we're going to be happy with, because I think the only outcome that we're happy with is if someone from the committee goes home this week, and that's just not going to happen. You know, like
it's not. Nope. One of Davon, David, or Kevin will go this week. It's probably going to be Kevin.
Yeah.
Unless he can save himself. And then we would see some really interesting conversations about who to save, David or Davon.
Yes.
Oh my God. Now I'm just burping. Oh my God.
Oh
I
gotta
like
Sarah.
I just gotta like take a nap or something. I'm done. I'm done for. Oh, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. We love our little Friday chats. Thank you for my haircut. Thank you for all the super chats, and you guys are the best. And we'll be back on Monday
we will
to recap the Sunday episode and have all the veto spoilers for you on Monday.
Yes, we are chugging along. We're sticking with it, you guys. So please stick with us.
And if you guys are watching this later, please leave us a comment. Let us know how you feel about everything. About a Memphis HOH and who you hope saves themselves.
Use our comments section as a venting area. Just scream into the void of our comments section.
That's a good way to put it. Go for it. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next time.
All right. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.